House Bill 1075 is a bill that brings some parity to the business community. Missouri gets a grade on many things we do. Some things we do all right, some things not so good. We do receive grades from a well-respected National Tax Association, the Council on State Taxation. Costs. Beginning in 2008, our unclaimed property laws, we got a D. We remain in the lowest ranking states with only Delaware, Mississippi, and New York with lower grades. This bill will correct several things. Business-to-business exemptions will allow what I call ghost credits to no longer be utilized by state contingent fee officers to tax or penalize businesses. This bill specifies that any outstanding check, draft, credit, balance, customer's overpayment, or unidentified remittance issued to a business entity or association as part of a commercial transaction in the ordinary course of business cannot be presumed abandoned if the holder and the business have an ongoing business relationship. Businesses, unlike individuals, hire bookkeepers, accountants, lawyers to monitor their finances, and if they do not take advantage of a credit, odds are it doesn't exist. However, businesses have long been penalized in this state with statutes that allow for these credits to be counted against them. It is not allowed in most states. This legislation enacts a partial business-to-business exemption on these credits as long as there is an ongoing relationship. Another correction this bill takes care of is a period of limitation. We have a statute of limitations in our federal and state tax laws. However, we do not have one when it comes to audits of unclaimed property. If a business files a report in good faith, they should have assurance that at some point in the distant future, you may not be penalized for said report. The business community needs some sense of finality in its reporting. This bill sets the statute limitations the same as our tax laws at 3 years. One thing this bill does not currently address, but we're working on with the State Treasurer's Office, is an independent appeals process. We have an independent review process in place, I understand, for other items, and we would just like to add the unclaimed property appeals to this process. Again, we are continually working with the Chamber of Commerce and the Treasury Department to come up with something like that.
This bill will make Missouri more business friendly when it comes to our unclaimed property laws. And he talked to you about the ranking. The ranking is based on our statute. In no way does it reflect the job that the state treasurer does, because he's acting on behalf of the statutes that we have in place. And this is really important legislation to the business community. And it's important because we are the holders of what is known as unclaimed property. Representative mentioned 3 things we could do: the business-to-business exemption. I have a copy of the study here that will show you how other states rank, and then the other provisions that we're talking about here and which states include that. Kansas, Illinois, I believe Kentucky. There are 4 or 5 different states surrounding us that already include the business-to-business exemptions. We're only including a partial, meaning that you still have to have an ongoing relationship. And you know, we think that the business-to-business makes sense. The Supreme Court basically ruled that the holders of unclaimed property have to turn that property into the state. And it's on the best interest of the consumers and also the business's customers and also their employees. So that makes sense. If you have a paycheck that you didn't cash, that needs to be, and your employer can't locate you, the state can hold that and then work to get that back to the rightful owner. The same with the tax refund, the same with a gift card that you may purchase. So we believe that makes sense. What we don't believe makes sense is when the state decides to come in and become a middleman for the business community. And you know, businesses have thousands of transactions that go on every day between each other, every week, every month. And so there are many of these transactions that show up on a book that is not necessarily unclaimed property, but merely bookkeeping issues. And so those right now currently, let's say for example, you and I tell you I'm going to give you a discount if you buy certain property from me. You may or may not buy that property from me, but I will carry that through my books as part of my bookkeeping. Currently now, a business may have to report that as unclaimed property, that discount, and pay it to the state, even though you may never, ever buy that property from me. So, you know, we believe it makes sense. We like the idea of keeping the business relationship in place, and that's what you'll find in the bill. The other piece was the statute of limitations. Currently, there are none. What we have in the bill is something that looks towards the tax laws for the statute of limitations. But there, with no look-back periods, it is potential for an auditor to come in and ask you for your records back for 10, 15 years. If you don't have that, what tends to happen in these kinds of audits is that they'll estimate based on the books that you have what you owe, and then back that amount over several years, and then include penalty and interest. So we would like to see a statute of limitation put in place, and again, the appeals, the independent appeals process, either through judicial appeals or also through the Administrative Hearing Commission. That is not in there, but we have been working very closely with the State Treasurer's Office on getting the final legislation forward and ready to you before you vote upon the bill. And it's my hope that we're all on the same page with this, and that we'll be moving forward together to improve our unclaimed property laws. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.